ask that general business notice of motion number 1092, standing in my name for today, relating to anti-white racism, be taken as a formal motion. I hope that the Senate does the reasonable thing today by supporting this motion. Anyone who pays attention to the news or spends any time on social media has to acknowledge that there has been a rise in anti-white racism and a rise in attacks on the very ideals of Western civilisation. I would also hope the Senate does the right thing and acknowledges it is indeed okay to be white. Such a simple sentence should go without saying, but I suspect many members in this place would struggle to say it. People have a right to be proud of their cultural background, whether they are black, white or brindle. If we cannot agree on this, I think it's safe to say any white racism is well and truly rife in our society.
Oh. Wow.
Wow, the It's Okay to Be White thing has made it to the Australian Senate. The It's Okay to Be White thing that was rather brilliantly devised on 4chan last year to bait the American mainstream media into flipping the fuck out and showing the world their bias against white people by condemning a completely innocuous common sense statement as racism.
It's okay to be white.
It's okay to be white.
It's okay to be white.
White racism.
White power posters.
Hate groups.
Racial and political tension.
Racial slurs.
Surely the Australian Senate won't walk into that one. Let me give a quick shout out to this video's sponsor, then we'll take a look at that. Did you know your home, business or commercial internet routers record and store all your browsing data? Even if you're using incognito mode, your browsing history can still be recorded by the routers you're connected to the internet with. Imagine going to Starbucks to have a coffee and maybe check your email. A lot of people don't realise that Starbucks will be able to keep all your browsing activity while logging your IP address. That's why a VPN is such an important thing to have, because it can block third parties from viewing your browsing data and change your IP address. Check this out. What's myip.com. Bang. So here's my current IP address that indicates I'm located in Sydney, Australia. I'll open VirtualShield and change my location to Germany. Hit refresh. And now I've got a new IP address that indicates I'm located in Frankfurt, Germany. VirtualShield is the quickest and most user-friendly VPN in the world. They've got plans to cover yourself, your family and your business, all the way up to an unlimited device enterprise plan. Link in the description.
Oh, wow. Senator Hinch.
Deputy President, I seek leave to make a short statement.
Is leave granted? Leave is granted for 1 minute, Senator
Thank you,
Hinch.
Madam Deputy President. With the federal election looming, I'm starting to think that Senator Hanson and her former colleague Senator Anning are now locked in a race to see who can be the biggest, the loudest racist bigot in their contest to see who can get to the bottom of the sewer first.
This is Darren Hinch, a TV and radio commentator come senator. The guy usually makes sense. I don't always agree with him, but I can normally see the logic he's used to arrive at his positions. On this one though, he seems to have completely shit the bed.
That's what this obscene motion is all about. It could have been written on a piece of toilet paper, which reminds me of that old story about a toilet cleaner. People were nicknamed Harpic because they were clean around the bend.
Right, so she's a racist bigot because stupid dad joke.
There's a more sinister thing behind this latest stunt by Senator Hanson. She's using this chamber as a conduit for her headline-grabbing stunts.
A politician accused of grabbing headlines by a guy who wrote a book about himself called Human Headlines.
And just remember the burqa.
Yeah, Pauline Hanson once turned up to Parliament in a full burqa.
Senator Hanson knew or knows that this motion will not pass.
Yeah, that's her point, you dummy. Just like the people who put up the posters in America last year knew the media would go spastic. You're helping her cause, Darren. You're a useful idiot.
So she even preempted the Senate during the last session when this didn't get up. Senator Hanson tweeted a very clever line, dreamed up by, I imagine, her giggling cohorts in the back room. Her line about it's okay to be white.
No, it was dreamt up a year ago by people on 4chan. She's just borrowed it to prove the same point about the Australian Senate that they proved about the American mainstream media.
And then went public with it before most of the senators in this chamber had even heard about it. She tweeted it and went on Sky that night and published it before it was even tabled here in the Senate. And I would say this sort of racism is not only wrong, it could be dangerous and it demeans this august chamber.
The time has expired.
Yeah, and nothing he said then even began to explain how this is in any way racist or bigoted. Completely piss weak. Now we're going to hear from Senator Richard Di Natale, the leader of the Australian Greens.
Well, it's not just okay to be white in Australia, it's actually a ticket to winning the lotto.
It's a ticket to winning the lotto. Just look around this chamber, see how many faces you see that aren't white.
Well, that is an interesting point. We've got Senator Patrick Dodson and Senator Malandiri McCarthy, both Indigenous Australians, Senator Lucy Goshuhi from Kenya, Senator Marine Faruqi from Pakistan, Senator Penny Wong from Malaysia, and Senator Arthur Sinodinos, a Greek Australian. So to give you a rough breakdown, Australian Aborigines make up around 3.3% of the population and 2.6% of the Senate. Africans make up 1.6% of the population and 1.3% of the Senate. Middle Easterners make up 1% of the population and 1.3% of the Senate. And Malaysians make up 0.3% of the population and 1.3% of the Senate. But none of that matters. See, the very fact that there are non-white Australian senators demonstrates the fact that there are no systemic racial barriers to becoming an Australian senator. And as we are a free country and we are all free to choose our pursuits in life, the diversity of skin tone in the Senate is of absolutely no significance.
Have a look in the privileged positions of Australian society, people who occupy the seats of the rich and powerful. How many of them are not white?
Well, again, some of them are not white. Free country, free will. What's your point?
Last time I checked, it's the privileged white Anglo community that are the ones occupying the seats of influence. Look, the reality is this "It's okay to be white" slogan has got a long history in the white supremacist movement, where both these clowns get most of their material from.
Darren Hinch thinks the "It's okay to be white" slogan was dreamt up by Pauline Hanson's giggling cohorts in the back room. Richard Di Natale thinks it came from the white supremacist movement in America. They're both wrong. Right-leaning 4chan users came up with it around Halloween last year. I made a video about it back then and looked at their original game plan. 1. Anons organise on here, Infinity, Chan and elsewhere print out uniform posters. 2. Put on silly Halloween costumes for anonymity. Nobody will think twice because it's Halloween. 3. Posters go up on campuses and elsewhere across the world on Halloween night. 4. The next morning the media goes completely berserk. 5. Normies tune in to see what's going on, see the posters saying "It's okay to be white" and the media and leftists frothing at the mouth. 6. Normies realise that leftists and journalists hate white people, so they turn on them. 7. Credibility of far-left campuses and media gets nuked. Massive victory for the right in the culture war. Many more our guys spawned overnight.
You know what? It's not okay to be in this country. It's not okay to be Aboriginal because you're more likely to die younger, to be locked up.
Wait. Are we locking people up for being Aborigines, or are we locking people up for committing crimes?
It's not okay to be an African person because you're more likely to experience racism.
Well, when you start defining racism as something only white people can do to non-white people, of course you're more likely to experience racism if you're African. But don't worry, Richard Di Natale's here to defend you. Well, unless you're a white African, then you can go fuck yourself.
It's not okay to be a Muslim because you're more subject to
Senator Di Natale, please resume your seat.
Jesus Christ, imagine if the "It's okay to be white" thing was dreamt up by white supremacists. If that was the case, Senator Richard Di Natale would have just handed them an early Christmas present.
It's not okay to be Aboriginal. It's not okay to be an African person. It's not okay to be a Muslim.
So Pauline Hanson's motion was defeated in the Senate with 28 votes for and 31 against. Labor and Greens Party senators voted against the motion, but Liberal National Coalition senators accounted for 23 votes for the motion.
The government condemns all forms of racism.
And then they withdrew their support for the motion the next day, blaming an administrative error.
Logic.
So is it okay to be white in Australia? Is it okay to be black? Once again, Liberal Democrat Senator David Leyonhjelm steps forward as the voice of reason.
Why did you vote for this motion, Senator?
These motions are always a bit difficult. There's no room for nuance. But I took the view that if I didn't vote for it, I would be basically saying it's not okay to be white. And of course it is okay to be white. It's okay to be brown or black or any other colour that you are. So I took the view that it was just basically a common sense question. If it's not okay to be white, why not? And I couldn't think of a reason.
Now, before I go, you might have noticed I don't use Twitter that much anymore. Because fuck self-censorship. I mean, where's the fun in voicing your opinion on the internet if you've constantly got to be worried about getting banned for offending the wrong fat, whinging, non-binary, blue-haired NPC? But you can always catch me at minds.com/bearing. Cheerio.
Recession, session. Advertise